What up, what up? It is Alex, the Fantasy Football Hustler, back at you. I got another IDP video for you IDP savants. Sit back, relax. We're going to talk about linebackers, D linemen, and DBs that you guys need to be picking up. I really only try to deep dive on this. So if you have questions, leave them in the YouTube comments. I do my best to answer. We talk about players that are rostered in 10% or less on Sleeper and then 5% or less on Yahoo. Let's get into this deep dive. All right, first linebacker I'm talking about today, Tyrice Knight, a rookie on the Seattle Seahawks. Since their bye, he's been getting 81% of the snaps. That's the last 2 games. The Seahawks actually released Tyrell Dodson to make room for this kid to get into the starting lineup. That's why we want to pick him up. He's 0% rostered in Sleeper. He is 1% rostered in Yahoo. For the last handful of years, the Seahawks have produced 2 viable linebackers more often than not. And even though they got Ernest Jones over there, who's getting 100% of the snaps and probably will outscore Knight more often than not, Knight is going to be a valuable linebacker moving forward. Stamp it. I got to bring up Malik Harrison for the Ravens. He got a bunch of snaps because Roquan was out, yes. But the one thing that I noticed was he got more snaps than Trenton Simpson. And that wasn't always the case. Over the course of the season, Trenton Simpson, almost no matter what, has been getting more snaps than him. But this game, when Roquan was out, Malik Harrison led the linebacker core in snap percentage. Throws down 20 points. Ravens have their bye in week 14. So could they sit Roquan out another week? Hell yeah. It's a tough game against Philly for sure, but they need Roquan for the long haul. And those hamstring injuries can be very tricky. We hate him. So Malik Harrison, get him on your radar. And if you have Roquan, this is an easy pickup. You got the guy who's replacing him. I brought up Nik Bonitto before, but I've got to bring him up again. He's only 3% rostered on Yahoo and only 7% rostered on Sleeper. Now, if you play on Sleeper, you can actually plug him in as a defensive lineman, and we want those cheat codes, that's for sure. You'll notice here throughout the season, he only has 3 games with single-digit points, and the last 3 games, 20, 29, 17. He's on fire. The Broncos defense has been great, and he's been one of those great pieces over there. If you haven't picked him up, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you better do it now.
Pick him up!
All right, you guys ready? I'm going to bring you way back with this one.
What we gonna do right here is go back. Way back. Back into time.
Jordan Hicks on the Cleveland Browns. 100% of snaps 2 weeks ago, 90% of snaps this past week, 19 points this past week. He did mix in a sack, 6 total tackles. The colder that it gets, the more that teams are going to be running it, and the more tackles that I see in Jordan Hicks's future. And if he's available, go pick him up.
Pick him up!
Says 30% rostered on Sleeper. I almost find that hard to believe. He's only 2% rostered on Yahoo. That's why I brought him up. You guys ready? Here comes the boom. Christian Rozeboom for the Rams. 5% rostered on Yahoo, 5% rostered on Sleeper. 4 great games in a row, 21 points this past week, 12 total tackles, 11 total tackles the week before that. He's a tackling machine. Teams are running it a lot on the Rams. So what are we going to do? We're going to bring that boom. Here we go with the defensive linemen, and as you know, it is very slim pickings for the D linemen out there, especially on the waiver wire. But the first guy I'm bringing up here, Mr. Chop Robinson from the Miami Dolphins. 0% rostered on Sleeper, 0% rostered on Yahoo. More often than not, he's playing between 50 and 60% of the snaps. 3 out of the last 4 games, double-digit points. He got to the QB in the times when he put up those points. Packers and the Jets over the next 2 weeks. Jordan Love's not really taking a bunch of sacks, but we know the Jets are. So, yeah, with all the slim pickings out there, go pick you up this rookie, Chop Robinson.
Pick him up!
Next DL to talk about, Laiatu Latu, the rookie from the Indianapolis Colts. I brought him up last week. The needle did not get moved for him on Sleeper. He's still 0% rostered over there. 19 points this past week, 16 points the week before. He's playing between 60 and 70% of the snaps. He just keeps making plays. He keeps making things happen. He has a high motor. They let him get after the QB. And if he is available, shame on you because you should have picked him up last week. But here's your reminder again to pick him up.
Pick him up!
The only thing that sucks is he has his bye in week 14. But then again, so do 5 other teams. The last DL that I'm going to talk about today, A'Shawn Robinson. I brought him up in the past. He had his bye week in week 11, but his last 4 games, double-digit points in each of them. 15 points in week 12. Plays between 60 and 70% of the snaps. He's a defensive tackle. We normally don't want to target that many defensive tackles, but everybody runs on the Panthers, so he just ends up getting a lot of tackles. So if he's available,
pick him up!
DL is very, very slim. He is 2% rostered on Sleeper and only 5% rostered on Yahoo. Go grab him. The first DB that I'm talking about here, Josh Butler. He's on the Dallas Cowboys, 2nd year. He's 28 years old, very long in the tooth. If Trey Diggs or Jordan Lewis do not play, he's the next man up. So these last 2 weeks, he's been doing pretty solid. And this past week, 37 points, 12 total tackles, and he mixed in a sack as well. That's some cause to pause right there. They got the Thanksgiving game, of course. Trey Diggs don't get out there. We're rolling Josh Butler. So pick him up.
Pick him up!
And if Trey Diggs don't play, fire him up.
All right, fire him up!
Next DB to talk about, Mr. Coby Bryant. And no, we are not talking about the Black Mamba. We're talking about the safety for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the one thing that we got to pay attention to is Rayshon Jenkins, because he did come back, but Jenkins played 50% of the snaps. Jordan Love and Coby Bryant both played 100% of the snaps. So I wonder if Coby Bryant's been doing so good that they're just going to run a lot of 3 DB sets out there. Over the last 5 weeks, excluding their bye, Coby has locked in double-digit points in every single one of those games. Now, the highest scoring games that he's had, he has mixed in an INT, and he did have an INT to the house, but still rocking double-digit points throughout these last 5 weeks regardless. We love the consistency, and he's only rostered in 2% of Sleeper leagues, so go pick him up.
Pick him up!
Again, we got a few rookies on the list this week for the IDP guys to pick up, and Tyler Nubin, I've mentioned him before. He's the safety for the Giants. 20 points in each of the last 2 games. Teams are just throwing on them even more than before, but also they get him up in the box. 12 total tackles in each of the last 2 games. Giants offense is bad. And when the team's offense is bad, we like those IDP guys. Why? Because they're on the field more opportunities. This next guy on the list was dropped in a bunch of leagues because of his bye week, Xavier Woods.
X gon' give it to you. What?
Go pick him up.
Pick him up!
20 points in each of the last 2 games. Carolina's offense has been suspect, and so their defense is on the field a lot, and he's getting a bunch of tackles. He was massively dropped for the bye week. He's only 4% rostered on Yahoo and only 2% rostered on Sleeper now. Go grab him. All right, the last DB to mention here, Jack Jones on the Raiders. There's been a lot of injuries on the Raiders. Jack Jones, one of those guys who has been very consistent, especially over the last 4 weeks, double-digit points in all of those weeks. A lot of tackles, too. 7 tackles in each of the last 2 games. Now with Gardner Minshew going out, that offense is probably going to be worse than it has been all season. That means more time on the field for the defensive players. So if Jack Jones is available, go pick him up. And there you have it. Another IDP video for you IDP savants. If you made it all the way to the end, put in a comment, IDP life or FTD, fuck team defense. Let's go. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button because you know there's nobody out there who is bringing you IDP content like myself. There's also very few out there who are hosting leagues with IDP like me and on the scale that I'm doing. Get ready. The next leagues that we're starting are going to be in January for the NFL playoffs. $20 buy-ins, $35 buy-ins, $55 buy-ins. It's a 3-week tournament, and top 3 teams are in the money. It's going to be super fun. This is going to be getting us ready for our dynasty leagues that are going to be starting in February and drafting literally every single month all the way through August. Come join the crew. Go to 420crew.com so you can stay in the loop of everything with these leagues plus more. You can join for free to stay in the loop. You can join as a paid member as well to get more access. I recommend joining as a paid member. Go look and see all the type of access that you can get. And then don't forget to go to 420crewmerch.com and go check out the new site. Go pick up one of the new designs. T-shirts are on sale for $12.50 until Wednesday morning. Appreciate you guys rocking the IDP life. And go check out the other video with team defense and with all the offensive players as well. Go check it out.
Defense on me!
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night! If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.